Hi, everybody. Welcome to our third virtual Pathfinders of 2023. Pathfinders, I think most of you that are here know this, but it's a new GutMonkey program that includes GutMonkey staff with boots on the ground running programs at local chapter events to help participants build new competencies around hiking and spending time in the outdoors. This part of the program was inspired by the Backpacks and Bleeders program that our friend Chris Bombardier started in his home state of Colorado, and that is still around and still helping people to get outside and move their bodies. And we're really excited to see some of you and spend some time on the trail together at one of your local chapter events. The second part of Pathfinders, though, is this series of virtual programs to help build outdoor schools skills for people in the bleeding disorder community across the U.S., but conveniently from the comfort of your home, like this evening. The topic of today's session is hiking as a family. So we'd like to take a moment and, before we go too far, say a sincere thank you to Sanofi for their exclusive sponsorship of Pathfinders. We know through discussions that Sanofi wants people in the bleeding disorder community to have access to ways to move their body and stay active that are enjoyable and can meet the needs of people at various mobility and experience levels. And Pathfinders is a great way to do that. Due to some scheduling challenges, I don't think we have anybody on from Sanofi tonight to say anything. I'll just check in. Sanofi host, Sanofi friend? I don't think so. But thank you very much to Sanofi for being the exclusive sponsor of the Pathfinders program, both the virtual and the live ones. So if you see anybody from Sanofi out there, say thanks. Let's see. So who are we? Again, my guess is that this group at this point has some sense because we've seen some of you before at these. But GutMonkey is a mission-based adventure education company through outdoor and adventure-based programming. GutMonkey's mission is to provide foundational and life-changing experiences for folks with chronic health conditions that improve health outcomes, build communities, dismantle stigma, and increase awareness. And Pathfinders is just a perfect addition to that. GutMonkey's been running programming in the bleeding disorder community for 17 years, coming up on 18 later this month, and providing engaging and unique programming like Pathfinders. Through all this program, we always like to start with our agreements. We're going to ask that while we're here together today, that we all agree to the following. The first is to be brave. We'll ask you to lean into things that might be challenging and be vulnerable if the opportunity arises. Also, to be excellent to each other. Let's take care of each other and be open to the wonderful and unique differences that all of us bring to the space together, and be respectful to one another, and also to do the right thing. This one is up to interpretation, but when you have to make a decision, ask yourself overall, what is the right thing to do here, and let that guide you. All right, so quick team introductions as we get going. My name is Pat Torrey. In the camp and outdoor world, I sometimes go by Big Dog, and I use he and him pronouns, and I'm the founder and CEO of GutMonkey. I'll pass it to my friend Tom.
Hi there, my name's Tom. I'm a program manager at GutMonkey. I will be out doing some of these live hiking experiences, and will be joining us for the virtual ones as well. And I'll pass to Margaret.
Hey everyone, I'm Margaret, the Program and Operations Director for GutMonkey, and also excited to be facilitating the live program in Bozeman, Montana, in about a month. I'll pass it back to Pat.
Perfect. We're also going to ask you to take care of your needs tonight. Feel free to keep your camera on or off. Please stay muted unless we're asking for share outs. Feel free to step away if you need. And you know you better than we know you as far as what your needs are. So get those needs met. Quick agenda for our session today. This is what we're going to be doing. First thing, we are going to look at what is the definition for family for you. And we're going to look at the concept of type 1, type 2, and type 3 fun. This is a fun piece that I feel like becomes some neat common language out there in the world, especially in the outdoor world. So if you haven't if you haven't familiarized yourself with this before, it's a good thing to know when getting out on the trails. We're going to talk about family essentials, and also adjusting our expectations and some pieces around decision making. How do we make decisions when we're out there with our families? And at the end of the session, you'll have a chance to win a pretty awesome giveaway. It is some fun and customized tools and materials to help get your family outside, but you have to be present to win. So stick around to see if you might be the winner. With that said, I'm going to turn our program over to Margaret to get us going. Thanks, Margaret.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. So tonight we are going to be talking about hiking with family, and I want to begin by introducing an activity to get us started and really thinking about what family means. So anything we do tonight, you can do camera off, mic off, no expectation to join us in that way. So the first thing I would like for you to do is, if it is accessible for you, to grab a piece of paper and a pen or a writing utensil. You'll use both sides of this sheet of paper. So consider that as something that you can write on both sides. And on one side, I would like you to begin by drawing a star or a dot somewhere near the middle. You can see it here on mine. And that is going to represent you. You can write your name near it or next to it, but take about a minute or two to write the names of people that, or things, animals, in proximity to you that you consider family. So for example, very close to my star, I would write Nate, who is my husband. Make sure you can see it there. That is the person in my family that I consider family, that is closest to me. And then maybe just outside of Nate, I would write Purd, who is my dog. And that is who I also consider as very close to my family. You can include people that are traditionally known as family. So parents or grandparents or siblings, but we want to be inclusive of all types of family, not just people with kids, although that is something we are going to talk about a lot today. So take a few minutes to write those people around your star. As you write them, or the dot in the middle, and as you write those names or those pets or those things, I encourage you to put a little star next to the names of the people or the pets that you would like to potentially go hiking with. So my husband is someone that I hike with often. My friends are people I hike with often. I might consider my parents to be close to me in terms of family, but maybe those aren't people I really hike with. That's not an activity that we would do together. So as you're writing these names, put a star next to the people that you either do go hiking with or you're interested in going hiking with. After you do that, and if you're still working on that, that's great. But after you've completed this very basic chart of your family, I invite you to make 2 lists. So in consideration of the people that you think of as family and family that you would like to hike with, and those are the people that we're going to be working with today in terms of hiking with our quote unquote family, I invite you to make 2 lists. On the first list, I'm going to ask, what are the benefits of hiking with these people? What are the things that are really fun and exciting and engaging? It could be that these people make you laugh. It could be that you're trying to build a friendship or a better relationship with them, and being outside and away from screens could aid in that. So what are the benefits of hiking with those folks? And again, on my list, I might just make it on one side of the paper I already have started. And then on the other side, I invite you to start a second list. And that list is, what are the potential challenges of hiking with these people? And I really encourage you to get into it here. It's okay to be really honest and vulnerable. If you have a toddler, For example, that's potty training. Writing something like, my kid might poop their pants is a totally valid thing for you to put there as a potential challenge. So again, make 2 lists. Think about your family. Think about mapping your family or the people that you want to be hiking with on the sheet of paper. I'm going to put a little bit of music on, and we're going to take about a minute to complete this. And then we'll come back and chat about why this is important as we think about hiking with family. So we discussed in our previous sessions the logistical ways that you can prepare to get outside. If you weren't here, that's totally fine. I believe everyone on this call was at those sessions, but today we're going to chat about some of the internal blockers that prevent us from hiking with our kids, maybe elderly family members, pets, even just people in our circle that may have different goals than us. We're going to connect that to how you can use those logistics that we've already discussed in our previous sessions, pieces like the 10 essentials or map and compass, to support the varying needs of the group and the family that you might be hiking with. And we're going to give you some clear tips and suggestions for making the time you spend outside with family as fun and enriching as it possibly can be. I believe a big reason why families, especially with kids, don't go on outdoor adventures is because of the lack of access of information and understanding about how to make that an enriching experience. So we're hoping to demystify some of that for you today. So if everyone could grab I have a few folks that are joining us right now. I'm just going to pause while they come in. Hey everyone, if you're new here, welcome. No need to turn camera on or microphone if you don't want to. You are of course welcome to. A reminder that we're filming this session, so just information for you to have in terms of how you want to engage. We're currently jumping into our next activity, so it's perfect timing for you to be here. We're going to be discussing types of fun. So if everyone could either grab a new piece of paper or use the paper that we were just previously using and write or sketch, if that's your what's preferred for you, your answers to the following prompts I'm going to ask of you. So there will be 3 prompts. I'll give you a moment to, again, grab a sheet of paper, a pen, a writing utensil, something. It doesn't have to be super fancy. The first thing I would like for you to write about, and again, it can just be a sentence or even a quick sketch, is a time when you did something that was fun while you were doing it. You remember it being really fun in the moment. And afterwards, you also remember it as being fun. So it was fun while you did it, and the memory of it is extremely fun. So for example, my friends threw me a surprise birthday party once, and I remember in the moment acknowledging how amazing it was and how appreciative I was that this was happening. And I was just feeling very joyful. And when I look back on that, I also remember it as being very fun and still feeling that deep appreciation that my friends had done that for me. So again, write down one thing that was fun while you did it and fun after. I'll pause for a few seconds. You can, again, write that down or even just think about it if you don't have paper with you. The second prompt is a time when you did something and it wasn't very fun while you were doing it. It was pretty tough and maybe even challenging. But then as you look back on it, it was something that was in your memory fun and you are glad that you did it. So for example, for me, I am turning a regular van into a camper van, and we had to cut a hole in the roof of the van, like cut through metal, in order to put a fan into the van. And I was the one that did it. And while I was doing it, I was like very scared. It was very hard. I was sort of ready for it to be over. But looking back on it, I'm really proud of myself. I thought it was pretty cool, and I definitely grew from that experience. So again, something that maybe wasn't very fun in the moment, but afterwards you look back on it and you're glad that you did it. So that's the second prompt. I'll give you a moment to write that down or sketch out something around that. You can also feel free to put things in the chat if you would like, if you're comfortable sharing. And then the third prompt is going to be a time when you did something and it was not fun at all while you were doing it. You were very miserable. And when you think about it, the memory of it is also not fun. It is not something that you would want to ever do again. My example is when I was camping, really bad weather came in. The temperature outside went below freezing, which was not expected, and my tent flooded with water that I had to sleep in then for the rest of the night. It took a really long time the next morning to dry off and to heat up, and I do not look back on that experience as fun or something that I would ever want to repeat again. So again, third prompt is something that was not fun when you were doing it, and when you look back on it, no fun. I'll give you a moment to write that down. Again, feel free to share in the chat. All right. So what I just explained were types of fun. We use this term often in the outdoor industry. We have type 1, type 2, and type 3 fun. Type 1 fun is it's fun while you're doing it, and it's fun when you remember it. This is, in my opinion, and it could be different for others, but in my opinion, this is the best type of fun. It's something that is really intentional, sorry, I'm looking at the chat. Yeah, we're going to look at that photo and actually talk about it in a moment too. So type 1 fun is something that, again, you love doing it in the moment. When you look back on it, you're really excited about it. It was really intentional. It was really great. You were like vibing while it was going on, something that you were really digging. Type 2 fun is something that maybe it wasn't that fun while you were doing it, but it's really fun when you remember it. We're going to talk about that because that's a piece I think where a lot of folks get stuck. And again, Pat had reminded me earlier that some people maybe really like being in this space because it's tough and you can push yourself and you can maybe address something you're trying to challenge. And then type 3 fun is it's not fun when you're doing it and it's not fun you remember it. We talk a lot about growth zone and comfort zone at GutMonkey, and I'm not going to get into that today, but this is what I compare to like the panic zone. You look back on these situations, and often there was probably risk involved in a way that could have been potentially really dangerous. We usually want to avoid this type of fun. I can't think of a situation where I would want to do this, but maybe somebody has a different perspective. So why does this matter? When we're hiking with our families. So often family time and time with little ones can feel so rushed. When I think about even just leaving the house for an experience with young kids, I think about feeling rushed to get ready to leave. Do you have their things? So diaper bag, change of clothes, snacks, water. Do you have your things? Coffee, keys, wallet. Which jacket should you bring? The one that your kids need or the one that they're actually going to wear, which is often two separate things. Once you're halfway out the door, it's, I have to go to the bathroom. I hate my outfit. I want to change. I need a different toy. And then once you're finally in the car or on transportation, new various needs come up. So desires to go back home, hating their car seat, not liking the train car that you're on and wanting to switch. Can you stop at McDonald's? All of these things. And then once you finally get to your destination, all of these requests start over in some way. And you have to navigate that until you're done with your task. So if it's shopping or visiting family and friends, going out to eat, going to a park. So you pack up, you rush home in anticipation of having what you need, which is just in your home, and an opportunity to breathe and relax into your own needs. And while it may have been really fun in hindsight to do the thing that you just went and did, in my experience, just the pure act of getting kids out of the house to go and do something can often feel like type 2 fun. Our hope today is to give you skills to try and make hiking or being outside with kids or any type of family member closer to that type 1 fun. And again, Pat had some really awesome perspective about this earlier, about as adults, maybe again, we want to push ourselves or we want to have experience that's really challenging. But when it comes to our kids, or it comes to our elderly family members, or it comes to our pets who can't even voice their needs, sometimes having just that really intentional type 1 fun is what can get us hooked in order to continue going outside. So yeah, again, type 2 fun is okay. It's not a bad thing. And if it's something that you experience, that's fine. It helps us grow. It teaches us things. But that time with family outside is equally precious. So if you were here before, or even if you weren't, we discussed the 10 essentials. So the 10 things that you should always have when you go outside. And here they are again, in case this is a helpful reminder for you. And so what I would like you to think about, the first step of this is take this list and consider what you would need to add to make your family's hiking experience more enjoyable. So one tip is that every being that you are bringing out on the trail needs to be able to, at minimum, access the 10 essentials. It doesn't mean that everybody needs their own, but they need to be able to access them. So that includes kids, other family members, dogs, or pets. So I would love for you to type into the chat, potentially something that you can think of right now that you could add to your little 10 essentials pack that could help your family, whatever that means to you, be more successful as you're going outside. So typing into the chat, what's something that you could add to make your family more successful as they're going outside? ETA. I imagine that's like estimated time of arrival. At least that's what I know ETA as being. Yeah, right. So I love this. I love that it's not like a tangible thing, but your family potentially needs to know when we're going to be there. I bet that is something that you hear again in the car or in transportation, is like, when are we going to be there? When are we going to be there? So being able to provide that is potentially very essential for your family. Fruit snacks, kid drinks, cookies, awesome. Any other ones, you can continue to put them in the chat. We have some suggestions for you. I don't want to hear, are we there yet? Yeah, absolutely. And so that sets them up for success, but it also sets you up for success, right? Because then you can, again, both be having that type 1 experience. So some suggestions that we have when it comes to kids, because I think that's probably the biggest, the biggest topic that we want to think about and consider. A way to carry them. So of course, this depends on how old your child is or their ability level, but with young kids, thinking about a way to carry them that you have tested before in case they want to keep going, but they don't want to walk anymore. So go to your local outdoor store and just try some things out. They can probably give you really good tips. Bring your kids, make it an experience, and think about different types of backpacks or hip packs. There are so many options now for how to carry your kids. We suggest more snacks than you think you'll need. You obviously never want to get hungry, so that helps with that. But I also find snacks to be an excellent motivator on the trail. We've already seen like fruit snacks, kid drinks, chocolate. Pat, I think you had something that you really like to use with your kids. If my memory serves well, it's gummy bears. Yep, there it is. And so snacks are a really awesome addition. I also like to call it the secret layer, the jacket dilemma. So your kid doesn't want to wear their jacket. They don't think that they need it. So you're walking behind them with the jacket, like waving it around in the air so people don't judge you for your kid not having a jacket on, even though it's really cold. And then just like you knew it would happen, eventually they do get cold. So you have the jacket and it's ready for them. So thinking about layers for your kids can really add to that experience. Comfy shoes. I love that too as an addition in terms of layers and the things that they're wearing. So maybe they're really dedicated to wearing the Crocs or they're dedicated to wearing the flip-flops, but throwing the comfy shoes or something that's more accessible in the bag might be helpful. And then a game or an activity. So this could be something that is tangible, like card games or a small board game, or it could be something with no material. So a game that I really love is how many sports teams can you name that do not end in the letter S? So put it in the chat right now if you can think of a sport team. I might have said game, a sport team that does not end in the letter S. Let's see if anybody has one. I don't see any yet, but FC Cincinnati. I mean, I feel like that's a little bit of a cheat because the football club always is connected to the city, but we'll take it. Right, but that's a really good one that you really have to rack your brain and you can talk about, and especially if your family are sports fans, you can shout out those answers or try to think of them. Or people will go to like what sports teams that don't include an S at all, and that one is even harder. So there are really fun games like that, conversation type games that you can play with your kids. The next one is a fun surprise. So things like bubbles, ribbons, or a craft project. Something that when the vibes are going downhill, maybe things are going a little bit south, the negative attitude is coming out, a way to change it up. And then let's see. Game activity, a fun surprise. And then we always suggest, no matter if it's an adult or a child, having your treatment and having your medical ID with you at all times is always really critical. Even if you're going on a short hike or you're doing something very quickly outside, we always recommend that you have those things. We're already doing this, but continue to put your ideas in the chat. This has been really helpful. Listening to podcasts, and then maybe you listen to a podcast in the car and then you can talk about it while you're out on the trail. I love that. Michelle, I love this. Going to the bathroom outside. We're going to talk about that with pets in a moment. And I think Pat will have a story for us there too. But yeah, like that's a really fun thing that maybe is fun for your kids or would be exciting for them to learn. Name 16 things. Great. These are all awesome. When it comes to adults and the elderly, another important part of our family that I know for me, I love to be outside with this demographic in my family. We really recommend an assisted device if that's something that they use, and making sure to bring it. So even if they think they don't need it, something like a cane or a walker or crutches or anything like that, if somebody uses this even in a small way or every once in a while, bring it in the car, put it in the trunk, have it with you, have it available in case someone has to go back and get it. What we think we can do versus what we can actually do can often be challenged when we're out on the trail. So just having access to this device could be really great. I also suggest a small blanket. You can get these micro blankets from outdoor stores. They're maybe a little bit expensive, but they pack down really awesome in your backpack. You can also just bring a regular blanket, but it's something that you can throw down and sit on and take a break on. And anytime I bring one of these, I always end up using it. Extra water, someone will always forget. And then a fun snack. So this is one of my favorite things to do, especially with adults that I hike with, is thinking of the thing that you really like or your group really likes or your family likes, and editing that so that it can fit the outdoors. So for example, I love cheese boards. I love to make cheese boards, and my friends and I make them all the time. So when we go hiking, either we get together ahead of time or I will make individual cheese boards for people. And it's just a fun way to bring something you love outside. Make your own trail mix bar or station. So you have the peanuts in a bag and the raisins and the M&Ms and the marshmallows, and then you give everybody their own little bag and they can pour as much as they want in there and shake it up. Obviously, that could be something that's really fun for kids as well. But I love to bring that fun snack when I'm hiking with adults. And then a list of games that you don't need materials for. So again, going back to some of those examples of what you could do with your kids, thinking about the sport team that doesn't end in S, or 16 things. Google is an awesome place to find really, really great conversation games. And again, sometimes we call it the death march. Once you're getting near the end of the trail and maybe things are getting a little longer than you thought and you need to bring your spirits up, introducing something that's engaging and fun can be really helpful. And again, as always, treatment and medical ID for every single person that needs it in your party. And then the final one are pets. So I'm mostly thinking about dogs. I don't want to judge in case there's someone who wants to bring a lizard or a cat on a hike. I have seen both. So no judgment about what type of pet. But collapsible water bowl. I'm not at home right now in Portland, but if I was, I could show you. There are these awesome bowls that you can get and they collapse so they're flat. They can fit in a pocket. They could fit in the side of a backpack or a small pocket on your backpack. And they're really awesome for being able to provide water for your pet. Really yummy treats. I am someone that will always advocate for pets to be on leash, even if it's in an off leash trail. But if you're someone that lets your pet off leash or would like to allow that space for them to run, being able to get them back quickly is super important. And one of the best ways, if your dog or your pet is food motivated, are really yummy treats. So think like the really smelly ones when you open up the bag. A plan to carry your pet in case of injury or in case they are tired too. If you've seen videos or pictures of my dog Purd, you've probably seen him in our backpack, which again, I don't have right now. But we always bring that with us when we go hiking with him, as he inevitably will get tired after about 1.5 miles. And then we put him in the backpack and he gets a new view, and it's a more enjoyable experience for all of us. Water purely for cooling them down. This is important mostly for dogs, but if they get overheated or they get hot, giving them an option to cool down that isn't just drinking water. So you can pour it on their head or their belly. And then a plan for waste. So poop bags are the thing that most people use for dogs and other types of pets. I think Pat had a funny story earlier about could be also helpful for your children, depending on where they are in their potty training journey. And so this is a really important leave no trace principle when it comes to bringing your pets outside, is a plan for their waste. So again, I use poop bags. I'm not sure I know of a lot of other options, but packing it out if that's something that happens while you're outside. And then I saw this, Janet, awesome. Yep, agree. A towel for the ride home to keep your back seats clean. You can also get really awesome seat covers, things like that at either outdoor stores or things like chewy.com. And pet wipes for paws. You don't want to have this awesome day and then go home and spend hours cleaning the backseat of your car because your pet got mud all over the place. So the main thing that we want you to add to your list, these are, again, suggestions from us that are pretty tangible, but the main thing that we want you to add to your list of essentials for hiking is adjusting your expectations. So the one skill, and I'm going to call it the 12th essential. If there's one skill that you take away from this session, is that everything you need to have a successful afternoon hike with your family is already within you. What we've already covered are tips and tricks, again, things you can bring or things you can think about as you're heading outside. But if you can be thoughtful about adjusting your expectations to meet the needs of your group, you'll have a way better chance of getting into more of that type 1 fun that I talked about than any other suggestion that we can offer today. As someone who works somewhat in the outdoor industry, I'll be the first to say that the industry is, or can be exclusive and inaccessible for a lot of people. If you look at advertisements for outdoor brands, it is always fit humans doing things that are often not accessible for your typical person, and sometimes even things with kids. For example, as Pat shared in the chat earlier, and we're going to talk about right now, it's like, if you aren't doing this with your kids, you're not tossing your baby between canyons, then do you even deserve to be considered an outdoor family? And the answer is yes. The outdoors are truly for everyone. And I'll be the first to say that you do not need to be throwing your baby over a canyon to align with the people that value that like hardcore reputation of being in the outdoors. You can be an outdoor family just by going to the park and sitting on a blanket. That is being outdoors. Being an outdoor family does not mean like doing a 6-month hike or going on a huge rafting trip in Class 5 rapids for a month. It can truly, again, be taking a walk in the park, and your credibility and your reputation is just as awesome as someone that does what you see on the screen right now. So now that I've hopefully dispelled a little bit about what you need to be or do in order to feel welcome in the outdoors, I encourage you to use that when approaching the outdoors, and some tips from our end about what you can do internally in order to manage those expectations. The first one is things are going to be different than what you planned. Know that ahead of time. It's great to have a plan. We always suggest that you have a plan, but it's even better to know that you will likely have a very different experience than what your plan is. We recommend you be comfy not hiking the entire trail, or potentially even hiking at all. Obviously, if you plan to hike, you want to hike. That's the plan, that's the expectation. But what if that isn't an option for various reasons? Can you sit on a blanket and play games for a while? Can you have a snack at a picnic table at the trailhead? Can you collect some leaves and try to identify them? What about looking for new birds that you've never seen before? There are lots of different things that you can do at or around the trail if going on the hike doesn't really end up being the thing that feels accessible or possible to your family. Plan for and take a lot of breaks. Breaks are awesome. I love breaks. You don't need to be in a high heart rate zone pushing your people to the brink of exhaustion to have a fun hike. Actually, I guarantee that that's a pretty sure way that your family or the people you are hiking with will not want to hike with you again. I personally am a very slow hiker. And so for that reason, I'm very picky about who I hike with, because I don't want to feel rushed or be made to feel bad for being slow. We encourage you to prioritize the slowest person in your group without making them feel bad. So let them lead, let them set the pace, put them in front, and don't leave them behind 50 yards behind the group on the trail. I promise when you do that and you stop and you wait and you make them feel bad, or you encourage them to hurry up, they might never want to hike with you again. I have a rule, again, as a self-proclaimed and proud slow hiker, that for anyone I hike with, it will be our last hike if I ever hear the words hurry up or hustle. So something to think about and set expectations around before you go on your hike. Another recommendation we have is to focus on nature, which is the neat and fun things that we can find in nature, and allow the space and the time, especially for kids, to really engage in and have fun with it. So think about slugs on the trail, especially those huge ones that leave like the slimy trail that shimmers in the sun. Lichen, which is green growth on trees and sticks. It's a type of fungus that has really cool patterns, and similar to snowflakes, no two lichen are alike. So that can be a fun thing for kids to engage with. Consider wildlife, again, especially birds. You will definitely see at least one bird on your hike. And so think about noticing that and seeing if you can find similar birds or different birds. And then leaves, looking at the color, comparing them to the size of your hand. Again, keeping it really simple and thinking about how the things around you in nature are really adding to your experience. Not just having your head down and marching forward and then marching back. Really letting your kids appreciate, and everyone in your group appreciate, the neat things that they're seeing. We also recommend creating moments of magic. So things like photos, take a photo responsibly, hugging a tree, again, play a game together, sing a song, create those really core memory moments while you're outside of being together. And then finally, use this as a learning opportunity. Again, maybe it doesn't go exactly as planned, and that's okay. So what adjustments can you make next time to get closer to the experience that you were hoping for? And discuss this as a family. Ask, what do you need to have a better time next time? Have conversations as a family about how the experience felt in their body. Is this something that was too easy? Is it something that was too hard? And of course, as always, consider your bleeding disorders. So what adjustments do you need to make in order to have the experience you were hoping for? Do you need to adjust the hike, or do you need to adjust your treatment? And maybe you want to be pushing yourself and trying harder things. So how can your care team support you in being able to accomplish those goals? Our final tip for the evening is to make everyone, again, a part of that decision-making. So if you attend a live Pathfinders, you'll likely learn a decision-making model for being on the trail. We're going to teach you one right now. It's super quick and it should be easy for you to remember. And it's how you can use your whole group, so every person in your family, to engage with this in order to create buy-in and culture, even with your little ones. So we call this STAR. STAR is stop, think, assess, and react. So I said this earlier, if the vibes are going south, things are getting bad, maybe attitudes are coming in, tears are coming up for little ones, pause and offer this in order to get the group realigned with the experience that you want to have. So stop and name what is happening. Who is upset? What are they upset about? Just naming that there is something that is happening that's causing the group to have somewhat of a negative experience. Think about what is causing it, and you can think together as a group and again, have a conversation about that. Assess an alternative option, source options from other people. Again, like, make sure your kids are a part of this, right? Is the option to turn around? Is the option to keep going? Is the option to sit down and have a snack? Is the option to play a game? There are so many things that you could offer. And again, source ideas from everybody in your group, and then react by either moving forward with what you were doing before or adjusting your plan to a different option that was offered. Using STAR to prepare to get outside is a great way for you to also think about, again, the preparation aspect of it. Utilize this with your provider or your care team as you're thinking about what's right for you in order to get outside. So make sure your voice is heard. And if you have goals, bring that to your care team, bring that to your provider meetings. And if you don't feel like you're being heard, this is a great way to, again, stop, think about it, assess what's being offered to you, and if that aligns with you, and then react by either asking for something different or asking for other options. That was a lot of information. I know I did a lot of talking, but I'm just so excited and glad that I was able to share some of GutMonkey's tips and tricks for getting families outside. I think of all of the sessions, this was the one that we hope has a lot of resonance with folks, because one of the biggest barriers to just getting yourself outside, if that's not something that's really accessible or that you know a lot about, is then to get others outside that maybe face those same barriers, and to do it as a group. It's something that can be really tough. So thanks for hanging in with me tonight. Our next Pathfinder session is going to be next Wednesday, same time. Keep an eye out in your email for the link. We're going to make sure and ensure from the first email that gets sent out that that link is working. If you didn't sign up for this tonight and you found us through social media, you can either check the website, check social media, or go to our website and sign up. We will not be adding you to email lists or sharing your information. We will just use that in order to get you information for our session. I have to say thank you again to Sanofi for sponsoring this event. We appreciate their commitment to the community and passion for supporting people to get outside, whether it's hiking, biking, or the numerous ways to explore the outdoors. And of course, thank you so much for joining us. Again, it was a small but mighty group, and we just really loved having you here tonight. If you would like the chance to win some of our favorite tools for hiking with others, please fill out our survey. I'm going to pop it into the chat in just a moment. So hold on for a second, and you'll have that in order to click on. Our giveaway tonight, as was mentioned earlier, is going to be a few things that will help get your family outside. So more of those tangible tools, some of the things we offered. Once we choose our winner, we'll reach out to that person to make sure you're getting a customized package for the type of people or pets that you hike with. So we don't want to send you stuff for kids if you don't have kids. So we'll chat with you about what might be best. Hopefully we see you next week. It is our final Pathfinders. Invite friends, help us spread the word. Let us know if there's information that could be helpful for you to help us get the word out, and stay in touch. Thanks so much for being here. Again, I'm gonna pop that link in the chat just in a moment once you hear the music come up, and we'll stick around for a few minutes and say goodbye. Thanks so much, everyone.